Well, welcome back to the second part of the scenario building module. So right now we're going to talk about what's called the PEST analysis. In contrast to our discussion of the dynamic environment, you are more likely to see a PEST analysis than you are the discussion of the dynamic environment. Is one right or wrong? No. Use the one that works best for you. So it's an environmental analysis. And this is what we call a PEST analysis. Some people, or companies, also have what they call a PESTEL analysis. There's also the PESTEL -L. Okay? Is there one that's right or wrong? No, it just depends on which one your company uses. You know, go with the one that they like, not necessarily the one that we like. So, PEST is political, economic, social, and technological. PESTEL is political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. And PESTEL is political, economic, social, technological, and legal. Is one, better than the other? Again, just use the one your boss tells you to use. So let's go ahead and start with the P in PEST. Okay? And that's the political side. So you're looking at questions of, what are the variables of the regulatory environment, or the legal environment, or the political environment? Okay? So again, that's where the legal here is actually in the political side of a PEST analysis. Okay? So look at things like environmental issues, which is a PESTEL, also in the political side. Environmental issues, any sort of legislation in your current home or international market. Is there any future legislation that you're anticipating? Is there any sort of international legislation that you need to be anticipating? Is there any regulatory bodies or processes that are doing something that impacts the potential future? Are there any germane government policies that you need to be aware of? Are there any sort of election cycles that might impact you? Are there any trading policies that are relevant? Let's see if I can remember all of them. Is there funding, grants, and initiatives that could be germane? Any sort of a home market pressure group, or any sort of international pressure group? Now, if we look at the economic side, that's macroeconomic trends, labor market trends, international trade, and banking and finance. So some examples. Home and international economy situation. Home and international economy trends. Are there any sort of general domestic or international taxation issues you need to be aware of? Is there anything pertaining to taxation of products or services that's relevant? Are there any seasonality or weather issues, like seasonal weather patterns? One that always comes to mind in the U.S., the winter. Okay? There's not going to be any construction or building really in the winter in certain parts of the country. It's too cold. Are there any market or trading cycles that are relevant? Are there any specific industry factors? Market routes and distribution, you need to worry about those. Customer or end user problems. And of course, our interest and exchange rate is going to be fluctuating. Then we've got the S, that's the social, and that's demographics, lifestyle trends, social values. Okay. Are there any consumer attitudes that are changing? Is the media going to impact social trends in some way? Are there any specific laws affecting social factors? Is there any sort of a brand or company image that could be problematic? Consumer buying patterns, are they changing? Are there any sort of fashion and role models that are impacting social trends? Any major events or influencers, like we talk about leaders coming into, social leaders rather, coming into play? Is some sort of a buying access or trend changing? This one, think of like Amazon, people using the internet to buy things. Are there any ethnic or religious factors? Think of immigration. And of course, advertising and publicity. And then you've got the technological side. Are there any new technologies, product or process innovations? Are there any special new applications? Is there any access issues that you need to be aware of? Are there any special R&D policies that are coming around? And that's national and international. So do you need to be worried about any sort of competing technology? Are there issues with research funding you need to be aware of? Are there any associated technologies? Do you have to worry about replacement technologies? Okay, so new innovations in the market that make your current technology outdated. Is there anything like manufacturing maturity that can be a problem? Information and communications. Are customers buying things in new ways? Again, think of Amazon. Is there any new legislation regulating a given type of technology? Are there innovation potentials that you're missing out on? Is there any sort of issues with technology access, such as patents? And of course, are there any intellectual property issues? Now, I've gone through these as a checklist kind of relatively quickly. The point is to kind of stimulate your thinking. This is not it's not like you have to go through and ask yourself every single one of these, nor is this list 100% comprehensive. The point of a PEST analysis is just to kind of jog your brain in case you're having your writer's blocks and you can't think of anything to add in terms of variables, if you're having those hiccups. So what we're going to do in the next video is look at building an actual scenario, and I'll go through it with you very slowly, and then the next couple videos after that I will show you some videos of me building a scenario with one of my exec education classes, and next I'll give you a couple of concrete examples. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.